What's up, guys? I want to talk a little bit about the two videos that came out yesterday. One with Jeff Fabiano with about the trucks, and the other one with I think the other guy that he was with, uh, Bugs. I think is his name. I'm sorry. I apologize if I didn't get it right. Um, I'm gonna try to put the link in the description so you can see the videos. I'm sure most of you guys already saw it. You're probably well ahead of me. But let me just get to the main stuff, right? I'm gonna try to keep it as short as I can. Let's see if that works out. The Fabiano video, which was the trucks. The first thing that stood out to me, and it's really good, is the trucks. The handling, the physics, do feel different from the other cars. Now, I shouldn't say feel. I haven't played the game, but just watching it, it looked like a real handful, and that's great. Um, you know, one of the complaints from last year that I had and a lot of people had was like there were times where you felt like you could just mash the throttle all the way around the track and not have to lift really, especially if you had a setup. And this year it seems like they did some work to it, and the trucks they look like a handful. Um, I also like the track. I don't know the name of the track, Canadian Tire, I think, or whatever it is. It's a cool looking road course. Um, the trucks were just he could not really get on the throttle. Most of the track he's got to lift. I love that. So I thought that was awesome. I like the fact that there's a lot of different interiors this year. Cockpit views as far as the gauges, different the way they're set up. They really added some more detail, which I really appreciate. The sound is good, right? But um, he did say that it wasn't the final build, and then I realized I know there's only a few weeks left, but even the build he's playing is an older build from way back, right? From a while ago. And so that makes me feel a little better, right? So like even the gameplay we're watching is already kind of old and they're still working on the game. I don't know what exact details they're working on, but the one thing he did mention was that the sound is still not final. And I love that. So, yes, the sound is better. It's improved from last year, but still kind of like, you know, it's an improvement, which is good. So it's better than just putting out another game with the same sounds again. But I'm glad that they're not just like, okay, we changed it and whatever. We'll worry about this next year. So I like it that they're still working on it, and he clearly said they're still working on the sound, so it's not finalized. Um, so the trucks, the handling, and the fit, so it's clearly not easy to drive. I know he was on a controller, but still, he's been uh, using the controller for a while, right? He's had this build of the game, and I'm sure he's been playing with it. So it's not like his first time using a controller, right? So he's gotten a little used to it, and it looks like a handful. As soon as you touch a curb, or if you get in, even partially on the grass, you can't stay on the throttle. And this includes the Xfinity car that that he showed the other day. So I like that. Even though this game is more of an arcade than anything else, it's modeled to be arcadey. That's not necessarily a terrible thing. If it's done well, it can still be a lot of fun, and that's the thing that stands out most to me. The game really looks fun, and that's just watching gameplay. I didn't feel this way last year, so there's something fun about it, and that leads me to my next point, and this is something. I repeat some things a lot, but they're important things, so I stay on those things because they are so important. And in some ways they still concern me, but in other ways I see so much progress. The AI is fantastic. I don't know if I've seen better AI in definitely in any NASCAR game. And I gotta be honest. I've played a lot of other games. The AI really looks It's a lot smarter. They do have a sense of awareness, right? It's pretty obvious. Like I've seen a couple times where they want to come down, but like if you're all, they kind of sense you're there, right? They kind of like pull back up so they don't get into you. They don't dive bomb like they used to. So there is a sense of awareness. It's pretty obvious. I see it a lot in these gameplay videos, and I love that. So you don't feel like you're just running drones that are on a track and don't care if you're there or not, and they're just on a track, and you gotta, if you're in the way, you're fucked, and you gotta find your own way around them. I like it, and the way they spread out, that's been a huge complaint of mine for years. So they really did work on it, and I gotta say, I think that's their crowning achievement so far for this company I'm talking about. The one thing that stands out above anything that they really should be proud of is this AI looks fantastic. It's not perfect, and by no means do I think this game is going to have issues, right? So just like anything, there's positives and negatives, and there are things I already know about the game that when it comes out, I'm not going to like, and I'm going to talk about those things. I'm not going to gloss over them, and I'm not going to give them a free pass, Things like the no stats and career mode and stuff like that, I'm gonna talk about that. So it's not they don't just get a pass from me about that. But the game looks fun, and the AI I'm really impressed. Now there's another part of the AI that we haven't seen yet, and one of the reasons we haven't really seen it is because most of the gameplay footage is short races, right? I'm hoping that at some point they can run either a full race or at least a 50% race. I want to see these cars pit under long green flag runs. I want to see that pit strategy. That's one huge issue that's been plaguing these games for years, and that can ruin a race because you could be running mid-pack and not really making progress, and just because of the terrible pit strategy, you could just get handed a win. I hate that. It's a game ruining experience. They gotta fix that, and I don't know. Maybe they did. They've done so much in terms of other things to fix this game and add stuff that I wouldn't be shocked if they fixed it, and I really hope they did, because if you're like me, I run 50% minimum races to 100%. I don't like these quick sprints. I just don't. I enjoy NASCAR as a marathon. There's a lot more than just running a bunch of laps and just, there's a lot more involved. And I like as much of the experience to be as authentic as possible, and that's how I enjoy the game. So I'm glad they're still working on the sound. The AI looks fantastic. I even saw one of the cars spin out on their own. I don't know, was it Austin Wayne Self? I don't remember exactly. But the truck spun completely around by himself. Nobody hit him, and it was just approaching pit entrance when other trucks were pitting. So it's like he was going too fast and he couldn't get checked up in time, and he just lost control of the truck. And he spun around by himself. That was so cool. I like seeing stuff like that. And we've seen in even the Xfinity race, in the other video with bugs, the AI does screw up from time to time. And I love seeing that in real time, just as you're playing. It kind of makes you feel like, hey, these guys aren't perfect. They're not just drones that are perfectly programmed to run on a track. That is awesome. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about, again, the difficulty. It's still a big question mark. Now, question mark doesn't mean that I'm bashing this game or that I'm, saying definitively that it's not good. But a question mark means just that. I'm just not sure. There's things I like. For instance, once you work your way up to mid-pack, the AI gets racier. Sometimes they even fight you for position, and they'll take a spot back if you make a mistake. That I love. So that's a good thing. But when you think about it, these races are really short, right? So in a short race, you can hide a lot of flaws because it's like it's a sprint and you're in the moment. So even though it's kind of easy, working your way up through a run, it's exciting. But if you was to run a 50% or 100% long race like I do, this stuff would stick out a lot more. So if this thing isn't as challenging as I'm hoping it is, and you run a long race, it doesn't really matter how well you run. You're gonna get a good finish just by hanging, around. And so in a short race, you know, you may not catch the leaders, but in a long race, you just gotta, like I said, if the AI pit strategy isn't perfect, there's a lot of things that rear their ugly head in a long race. So I want to see some long races, and please put it at 105. I know that they've been running only at about 100, but show us what it's like. If it's a handful, great. That's what we want to see. So that's my biggest concern, is how easy is this going to be? And that can make or break this game. So, and one last thing, and it's still talking about the difficulty. Eldora, we saw some of that. It looks like fun, right? The actual physics and handling and stuff. I don't care. I know it's not super authentic, but it does give you a totally different feel. And it does look like fun. But it just was too easy. He won that race, no problem. It was just a couple of laps, and he just blew by everyone, and it didn't look like a struggle at all. So I'm hoping that they are still working on this, and if 704 Games is listening, anyone from there, please do something. Dial this game up a notch. Remember, if the game is too hard at 105, you can always dial it back, right? We have that option. That's the whole point of this, system. But right now we're seeing the game at 100 constantly, and it looks too easy. And I get it. It's not at 105, and maybe at 105 it's a big difference. I don't know that, but we don't know that because they're not showing us. I want to see that. So I'm really putting trust in 704 that this is going to be challenging enough. So I'm not judging the game with absolute certainty. What I see so far, I want to see more, man. Dial it up to 105. Run a 50% race. I know that Jeff, he's a sim guy. He's used to running long races as well. I know that he can't run a wheel and pedal right now because it's not ready. The PC side is behind the console side. But maybe he can get his hands on a console and a wheel and pedal and try that. I really want to hear some feedback from a sim guy like him on what it feels like. Right now everything we get is being judged off of hand controller and running it at 100 difficulty. I'd like to see 105 run a longer race. Let us see how this AI really behaves under long green flag conditions and how this pit strategy is. So, and then we get a better sense of how hard is this game going to be. That's pretty much it. I loved Texas. I loved the cookie cutter 1.5 miles. Those are my favorite tracks. That road course looks fun. Again, the trucks don't look easy to drive, and that's a good thing. So, again, I'm mostly positive. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what else is in store. And they're still working on the game. They keep reiterating that. So yeah, I'm gonna put a little trust in these guys that it's gonna get even better. Okay, and I do think they've earned some confidence, at least from me, because as hard as I've been on them over last year's game, and the way they some of the things they do that just don't jive well with me, they've done a lot, man. I mean, really think about all the stuff they've added. It's a huge step from last year, so I appreciate that, and they deserve credit for that. And I am excited in a way I haven't been excited about another NASCAR game that I can remember from a long, long time. So this game looks like fun, and that's what I think. What do you guys think of the footage? Again, I'll post the link in the description, and let me know what you think. I'll talk to you guys when there's new stuff to talk about later.